The package that I just handed out to you, we're fixing to start a section on trigonometry. Now we're going to start off very basic. Today's lesson is going to be on Pythagorean Theorem, which I know you've been exposed to before. You have a quiz on that tomorrow because you have seen it before and it should not be a big deal. Now, tomorrow and the next day, we're going to get into, if you'll open the packet up, we're going to get into sine, cosine, and tangent, finding a side, and sine, cosine, and tangent, finding an angle. That'll be what we do the rest of this week. So let me introduce to you trigonometry. So trigonometry is the study of three-sided measures. Trigonometry is made up of three Greek root words, tri meaning three, gonos meaning side, and metros meaning measure. So it's the study of triangles, basically. So we're going to start off very basic with the Pythagorean Theorem. Now, with the Pythagorean Theorem, if y'all will look up here at the very top part of your page, you see this little diagram. Okay? Do you see the three squares? The three big squares made up of little squares. Well, what have they formed in the center?
Triangle.
A right triangle. Because a square plus another square equals the hypotenuse square. So literally, when I was in one of my master's classes, I may have told y'all this, but just bear with me. Like when you're talking about 4 being a perfect square. So some guy was down by a creek bed and was looking at the pebbles and noticed that 4 pebbles made a perfect square. 9 pebbles spaced equidistant apart made another perfect square. So literally when we're talking about squaring something, it is making a square. So let's talk about the Pythagorean Theorem real quick. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Now look at the little diagram off the top right there. How many little blocks make up your vertical piece? 3. But that is 3 squared, which is 9. How many vertical blocks make up the horizontal piece? 4. And so that's a block of 16. So then look at the very big one, which is the hypotenuse, and it's made up of 5. And 5 squared is 25. So literally, you add the 9 plus the 16 and you get the 25. Okay? Now, you can't just arbitrarily put numbers in for these. Who can tell me what A and B are?
Legs.
They are the legs. Well, of a right triangle, how in the world do I know which ones are the legs?
The ones that make the right angles.
The ones that make the right angles. I also heard the shorter ones. That's very good. They make the right angle. And they're the 2 smaller sides. So that means that C is the hypotenuse, and it is always the longest side. Now I'm going to also give you a hint about something. You're going to be given, now these right triangles that you're given on this sheet are all in one direction, very easy to see the hypotenuse. On your classwork, they're going to be rotated. So you're going to have to know which one is your hypotenuse, and do not always go by the drawing. Okay? Usually, especially with Cambridge stuff, it'll say not to scale. So you cannot go by the drawing. So let me give you this hint. Everybody look up here. The hypotenuse, the right angle points towards the hypotenuse. Always. So if you're unsure of which one is the hypotenuse, put your pencil on the corner of the right angle and draw across. And that's going to give you the hypotenuse. Okay, so let's look at number 1 together. Number 1 We're finding which one, the hypotenuse or leg? Hypotenuse. If I draw straight across, that's what is y. That's 6 centimeters, 8 centimeters. So you have to be careful. I do not want everybody working these the same way because there's 2 different ways these will be worked. You're given 2 legs here, so that's 6 squared plus 8 squared equals y squared. So you're on your calculator if you need to. 6 squared is 36. 8 squared is 64. When you add those together, you get 100. But my answer is not 100. I have to undo the square by taking the square root. And so that answer is 10. Let's look at number 3. Now, this is what I'm talking about. If y'all just put 5 squared plus 7 squared in there,
You'll get the hypotenuse.
yeah, you're going to get the hypotenuse, but that's not what I'm wanting.
You want the other one.
I want the other leg. So you're going to set this one up as 5 squared plus y squared equals 7 squared. All right? And so in this case, if you think that they're going to work the same way every time, do not make that mistake. You cannot put 5 squared plus 7 squared and square root it. I would suggest you write down your work. 25 plus y squared equals 49. Subtract.
Y squared is 24.
Now, everybody take your calculators out and put the square root of 24 in your calculator, and it will give you the nice, neat little radical.
I thought you were going to ask, what's the decimal?
No, I want the radical.
2,
2
and
square root of
2 square root is 3.
6. 2 square roots of 6. Okay? Yes. Now, guys, on your classwork, if they give you a nice, neat little radical like this, then that's what you put. But if you get the square root of 35.462, whatever, you're going to have to give me a decimal and give it to me in 3 significant figures. What do I mean by 3 significant figures? Well, let's take this out. Let's do this. 5.2 squared plus 3.1 squared equals c squared. Everybody take your calculator out and do that for me. Do 5.2 squared plus 3.1 squared, and press enter. So that's 36.65 equals c squared. Now I'm going to take the square root of that. Take the square root of that.
6.0539.
All right,
6.053. Yeah, 6.0539243.
All right, and when I'm talking about 3 significant figures, I'm not talking about 3 decimal places. I'm talking about 3 important. That's what significant means. 3 important figures. So you've got 3 figures right here. Look at the 4th one. Do I round the 5 up or does it stay the same? It stays the same. So your answer in this case is not going to be a nice little square root of something. It's going to be a decimal. You didn't get a square root of, you didn't get 2 square root.
How'd you get 6.5?
Because that's 3 significant figures. You look at the 4. The 3 keeps the 5 the same. Okay? Now, the last part of the lesson, you can take notes on this, on the back side of this, or down at the bottom. Okay, now the next thing. Do not go by looks. Do not go by looks. We're going to determine whether this is a right triangle or not.
No,
Why are you saying that?
because it doesn't work for the theorem.
Okay?
4 squared is 16 plus 6 squared is 36 does not equal the 10 squared, which is 100.
Okay. How did you even know which one was the hypotenuse?
It's the longest one.
It's the longest length. So you can check these by saying 4 squared plus 6 squared. Does that equal 10 squared?
No.
Okay, so 16 plus 36. Does that equal 100?
No.
No. So that is not a right triangle. Y'all see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions so far? Hold on just a minute. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, what I want you to do right now is finish working